I was not made by years, I was made by drums. On this night, I stopped being a boy and became memory. Time is not counted in years. When the drums speak, the living listen, and the ancestors answer.
Remember the night before the drums spoke to me. The sky had darkened early, a velvet black sprinkled with tiny stars that barely pierced the mist over the village. The scent of the ocean drifted through the air, mingling with the smoke curling from the cooking fires that clung to the edge of the thatched huts. I sat at the edge of the clearing, my legs crossed, fingers tracing patterns in the soft sand, and I tried to calm the fluttering of my heart. The elders had spoken to me briefly that day, their voices low and heavy, carrying weight I could feel but not fully understand. My mother pressed her hand to my shoulder, her skin warm against mine, and said, "The night will show you who you are, Banu, but only if you truly listen." I nodded, though I did not fully understand. The village itself seemed alive, holding its breath for the events to come. The rustle of palm fronds whispered secrets to one another. The tide lapped quietly against the shore, distant canoes slicing the water with gentle splashes. A dog shifted in the shadow of a hut, its fur catching the faint firelight. Every sound seemed magnified, every movement significant. We, the initiates, sat in a circle near the clearing, our bodies painted with ash and earth pigments. Each stroke, each mark, carried meaning, a story passed down through generations. I dared not move, fearing that even the smallest gesture might betray my inexperience. Then the first drum sounded. It was not a sound one could hear and forget. It was a vibration that traveled through the soles of my feet, up my legs, into my chest, and finally settled deep in my stomach. Another drum responded, slower and deliberate, as if acknowledging my presence. Soon, the entire night seemed to have a heartbeat, a pulse that resonated in every corner of the island. The other initiates shifted slightly, eyes wide, glances exchanged in silent understanding. I inhaled and exhaled slowly, trying to ground myself, trying to feel steady. An elder approached, his staff carved with intricate patterns, his face adorned with layers of white clay and red earth. His gaze met mine briefly, and I felt a weight settle on my shoulders, not from his hand, but from the history behind his eyes. Without a word, he gestured for us to rise. My legs quivered, but I obeyed. As I stepped into the clearing, the firelight stretched my shadow long and distorted across the ground. Smoke twisted around the flames, carrying the sharp scent of herbs and the resin used in the rituals. Then the women began to sing. At first it was soft, a weaving of voices that seemed to ripple through the night. The song was not for amusement nor for any kind of display. It was a living memory, a voice of the past held in the present. They sang the names of ancestors, the deeds of those who had walked the islands before us, the storms they survived, the fires they endured, the births and deaths that shaped the clan. Each voice wrapped around me, tugging at something deep and unseen. I realized that these songs were lessons as much as music. The elders stepped forward, solemn and steady, their faces stoic beneath the paint and shadow. Behind them appeared the masks, tall, wooden, carved with expressions both human and strange, otherworldly. Shells, fibers, and pigments adorned them, creating beings that seemed to breathe even without a body. When they entered the clearing, silence fell. Even the crackling fire seemed to pause. I lowered my eyes, but I felt their gaze pierce through me, reading me, measuring me. The drums grew louder and the men stepped forward, bodies painted in intricate patterns of ash and earth. Their movements were precise and deliberate, each step a conversation with the earth beneath them. They stomped and spun, leapt and twisted, all in rhythm with the deepening drum beats. I could feel the vibrations in my chest, in my legs, in every inch of me. My chest tightened, a mixture of awe and fear, yet I knew I could not move, could not speak, could not flee. The night demanded my attention, demanded my presence. Then the elder raised his staff. My name was called. My feet felt heavy as I stepped forward, guided by the rhythm that seemed to pulse in my veins. I knelt in the center of the clearing, surrounded by firelight, smoke, masks, and song. Hands touched my shoulders, steadying me, keeping me rooted. The air was thick and almost tangible, carrying the weight of history itself. I smelled the resin, the ash, the sweat of countless people who had come before me. I closed my eyes and tried to calm the racing of my heart. The drumbeat shifted again, faster now, more urgent. The women's song rose to a crescendo, layers of voices intertwining like threads in an ancient tapestry. I felt something unravel and reshape within me, a sensation that I was part of something immense and timeless. The elders spoke little, only guiding, only watching, ensuring that the passage was neither too easy nor cruelly hard. The masks circled me, moving with deliberate grace, each gaze shaping me in ways I could not yet name. Memories of my grandfather repairing nets by firelight floated into my mind. The sound of waves crashing on the rocks at dawn, the smell of salt and wet sand. My mother's hands, scarred and steady, preparing meals and weaving cloth. Names, faces, moments, all rose unbidden, filling me with a weight I had never felt before. I realized then that the ritual was not about enduring pain or fear. It was about what one could carry: memory, history, responsibility. The night wrapped around me, pressing lessons into my bones. I faltered at one point and fear threatened to overwhelm me. A hand touched my shoulder. The elder whispered, "You are not alone, you never were." I nodded, swallowing hard. The drums held my panic at bay, the masks drew near and then moved away, teaching me presence and patience. Each step they took was a message, each turn a story, though I could not yet understand it fully. Time stretched and contracted unpredictably. The fire flickered, shadows danced like living spirits, and my body ached in ways that were both familiar and new. The night's air was thick with smoke, song, and rhythm. I felt both infinitesimal and immense, tethered to the earth and connected to something larger than myself. The women's voices softened, becoming a lingering hum. The men's steps slowed. The elders tapped their staffs against the earth, punctuating the final moments. I remained in the center, kneeling, chest heaving, sweat mixing with ash. Silence followed. The world held its breath. One of the masks stepped closer. I dared to look. Its eyes, carved and painted, seemed alive, seeing not just me, but the life I represented, the lineage I carried, the future I would shape. "Who are you?" the voice behind the mask asked. I swallowed. Words felt small. "I am what remains," I whispered. "I am what was carried." The mask did not move. The elder struck his staff once. I rose slowly. The night had ended. The drumbeat softened, then stopped. Firelight seemed ordinary again, smoke diffused. Everything inside me, however, had changed. I stepped back into the village as dawn crept over the horizon. The elder's eyes met mine, not with pride or judgment, but with quiet understanding. I had nothing tangible in my hands, yet I carried everything: stories, history, memory, responsibility. I was no longer only Banu. I was a vessel. I would honor it. My mother met me at the edge of the clearing. She did not speak. Her hand rested on my chest, steady and reassuring. "You have returned," she said softly. I nodded. Words were unnecessary. As I walked through the village, mist clinging to the trees, the world shifted subtly. Each step mattered. Each breath carried history. The drums had stopped, but their echo remained inside me. And when they speak again, I will answer.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment for more.